Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2217, I'm Mike Matthews. Welcome to a podcast, if you will. It's called
Mike's Daily Podcast,
where at the beginning I sing a song because I'm here at Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, and that's where everybody goes. They bring the whole family, and they're like, this is a podcast that I can listen to in the car or in a bar. No, wait, I can't in a bar. Oh, wait, yes, you now can. They're letting you in. All these bars that were able to
Mike's Daily Podcast
somehow survive the coronavirus, and they were able to get food permits
Mike's
to serve food.
Daily
Then they could have customers
Podcast
and serve booze.
Yeah!
Those were some very savvy. They had to do some serious quick thinking, these bars, especially in California. I know someone who actually helped out a bar, his favorite bar. Yes, there's a Toby Keith song, I love this bar. And some people really do love their bars, so much so that they said, hey, you know, if you get a permit and you'll be able to stay open because you're serving food and da-da-da-da-da. And they came up with ways, and just, that's interesting times, right? I watched a very interesting, right? Sorry, I had to get that stupid social tick out of the way. Which I discovered, yes, we started hearing about 15 years ago people say right, question mark, a lot at the end of sentences and whatnot, and it got very annoying. But I found a very early episode of Friends where Courtney Cox's character said right as well, and I think it goes back to Friends and all of those people like Homer, Lisa, Bart. Wait, do I have all my shows mixed up from the 90s? I think I do. That's all right. Some shows are still...
And here's today's podcast picture.
And when will The Simpsons ever end? That's the question. The podcast picture today is of Fairmont Ridge. I used to go there all the time with Basil the Boxer, the late great Basil the Boxer. And you see this one little spot we used to go to. This is not good.
Later that day.
My job. It would be nice if people did their job, so then my job would be a little less crazy. Anyway, Cafe Anyway, Fairmont Ridge. I took this guy to there all the time, and you can see a little area where we used to go to. MikesDailyPodcast.com. Yes, in fact, the day I went there was a cow sitting under a tree. It was one of these really hot days recently that we had. Now it's freaking cold. And Basil the Boxer would enjoy Fairmont Ridge. Okay. Cafe Anyway. Okay. I don't like this cold. Something about this weather lately. I don't know what's in the air. I'm having epidural issues where there's a little bit of a itch here and a scratch there, and I bathe regularly, and I wash my clothes regularly, and I don't know what's going on. But, there's a lot of stuff in the air. Maybe that's what's causing it. Regardless, I didn't mean to this tangent into this other area, but I will do it now because I mean to do this, and here it goes. I mean to tell you that two of my favorite singer-songwriters of all time, Billy Joel and Don Henley, did an interview. It was actually Billy interviewing Don, but this was recorded 6 years ago, and they were hilarious. Billy is quite hilarious and was really a good interviewer and was asking him some good questions about songwriting. For example, so Billy Joel hasn't really come out with an album. I mean, he's done an album where his music, because he's writing music all the time. He's a instrumentalist, a scorer now. He does a lot of music instrumentals. He doesn't like to write lyrics anymore. And he gets these really accomplished pianists to play the stuff that he writes, the music notes that he writes, and he still plays the hits. He goes on concert in venues and plays these big arenas and everything. But he is no longer writing songs, and Don Henley is still writing stuff. What's fascinating is Don Henley tells Billy, you're never too old to start. Basically, he says, come on, Billy, you can write songs again. And the audience is clapping. But Don Henley, he says that he likes to write stuff, and what he does is, to get over writer's block, he will do a simple task, like take the dishes out of the dishwasher or laundry or something. And he says that there's something going on in the unconscious mind that allows him to then create. I found that fascinating. Don Henley said that. And Don Henley is, Billy Joel doesn't collaborate with anyone. I did not know this until today, that he actually collaborated with Cyndi Lauper on the song Code of Silence from the album The Bridge. And it just happened because Cyndi was in one of the studios down the hall that he was in, and she walked over, and Billy was stuck with a song he was trying to write. He had the music, but he didn't really have any lyrics, and she goes, well, why don't you just start playing what you got, and then just sing out any words that you have, and I'll write it down, and then you can write something from that. So then she ended up singing on it. And I didn't even know that. So Cyndi is the only person to ever collaborate with Billy, and they're from that general area of the U.S., so it's kind of a neat collab. And I didn't know my lovely lady friend actually saw Cyndi Lauper one time in New York, sitting outside with a friend. Cyndi was enjoying the outdoors of New York City. So just a bunch of interesting philosophy coming from Don Henley, and about how in the creative realm, as we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, you don't need to suffer for your art. He said that that's a very American, a very Western thinking mindset, whereas in the East, it's a little more, the creativity comes from a balance in your life. And there's a little more of a Zen thing happening, and taking dishes out of your dishwasher type thing. And anyway, look it up. Don Henley, just type in Don Henley, Billy Joel, and it'll probably be one of the first, or interview, and it should pop up. It happened 6 years ago, and I pulled a lot of stuff from it. Very informative. Okay. To help residents learn more about how to select their path to zero waste, Castro Valley Sanitation District presented its 6th annual Zero Waste Week recently. Participants joined community events that were held each day, and they coordinated an independent tree fruit gleaning. That is, they get 50 members of the community gleaning more than 1,500 pounds of oranges, tangerines, grapefruit, and lemons. That's because a lot of that is just growing on trees, sitting out in front of houses, and the homeowners in Podcastro Valley talk about, places that have everything. They got too much of something, so they just let it go to waste. And other parts of the world where they would just love lemons, they would just go, what? You've got a surplus of lemons and you're just letting it fall on your driveway and get smushed by your car? There are quite a few trees near where I live that have grapefruit in them. And the people just let the grapefruit sit in the trees. And I guess the grapefruit won't fall out of the tree. It'll just keep growing and growing and growing till it's the size of a bowling ball. And the skin is so thick, you need like a really thick knife to get through the skin. And you wouldn't really want the grapefruit anyway at this point because it is so acidic. But I mean, I don't know, maybe you could find some use for it. You probably could. There's this one house, in fact, near where I live, where when the grapefruit falls, since the house is on a hill, it rolls down the street, and it's almost like you're hearing the bowling ball rolling down the lane about to hit the pins. And so they do this in Podcaster Valley, and I think it's brilliant because there are all these oranges, tangerines, lemon trees. The sanitation district of Castro Valley connected volunteers to local trees to glean fruit from and donate equipment to help volunteers reach fruit higher up on the tree. That's always the trick, because there's fruit way up there, and how are you going to get to it unless you have a ladder? But then that's cumbersome and annoying, so you just get this cool little telescopic thing that's got a little grabber at the end, and you can get fruit. The fruit harvested then was donated to Faith Lutheran Church Community Food Pantry, as well as Dig Deep Farms and other local food assistance agencies. And for the first time, Castro Valley Sanitation District offered virtual presentations to the public that are now available on their website and YouTube channel. Oh, boy, Don Henley, he had a lot to say about YouTube. He hates YouTube, hates Google, because he says it is just cheapening what musicians do and the music they make, and how like there's no value to what they do anymore, because YouTube is saying there is no value to what they do anymore. And there's like all these people on YouTube trying to be discovered, trying to be the next big thing, trying to be the next Shawn Mendes, who was discovered when he was doing Vines. Remember Vines? Is that what it was? The Vine app? I never had it, but I guess TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram is all sort of connected to that. But yeah, Don Henley is like, there's all these people, all this talent on YouTube, but they're just giving it away for free. Where does anybody make any money? And so he's very much into that. Anyway, it'd be nice if people did their jobs that they were supposed to do, so that other people don't have to do that for them, right? That's called being a good coworker and a team member, when you are firing on all cylinders, doing your job, and then I don't have to do your job, or the next guy doesn't have to do your job. I wrote this email to my coworkers before I left on my lovely lady friend's well-deserved birthday vacation that I got to enjoy some vacation time with her as well. And I said, look, realize I'm the guy that when something falls through the cracks, I grab it for a segment we call Back in Black. Dun, 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 dun. Lewis Black, he's awesome. Met him once, very nice guy, very short, quick, told him he was great. And he said thank you, and I left. Hey, I'll flesh that story out clearer some other time. But I told him I am Annette. I am not Annette Funicello, the late great Annette Funicello. No, I am just a type of fishing net that catches all the stuff that's falling, or I'm the net that's catching the trapeze artist that happens to miss the swing and needs someone to catch them so they don't die. Did I tell you that my uncle's daughter, which would be my cousin, yes, my cousin in Germany, was in the circus and was a trapeze artist and did the thing with the ribbon, the long cloth where she would tie herself in it and then do all the swinging around and whatnot? Yes. It would be great to have her on the show, but I don't think she speaks that much English. So, my point being, just think about what your actions do. And are you causing more work for other people because of what you do? Think about it. That's all I'm saying. Look who's here. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Wow, what an interesting podcast. Yes. All that fruit that goes to waste in California. Plum trees. Oh, when plums hit the ground, they cause these stains. But people love plums. Well, not everyone, but there's a lot of plum enjoyers in this world. I don't like them, Mike Matthews. They're disgusting. I also hate apricots. It's not for everyone, but look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. We try to help you out as much as possible. Mm-mm. Any idea what it is, that weird epidural thing I'm having right now? No idea. I'm an engineer, not a doctor, Jim. Joke. Thank you for the joke. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. If you want to chime in about anything that we discussed, you can go to 336mm daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast tries to be. Oh, I forgot to mention something real quick. Yes, that a lot of restaurants in California, especially here in the Bay Area, Podcastro Valley, are starting to open up and let people sit inside, which I never thought I'd see that day. And I just heard from another cousin, a second cousin in Germany, who said that the virus is actually getting worse over there. So they're seeing a lot of their freedoms disappear again. Well, you know, they're just being careful, not freedoms disappearing. Okay, I'm not going to go on that sort of... What was I going to say? Oh, so, but here we're being thankful because they're allowing people to sit inside. Places... I just got a email today of a coffee place that says 25% capacity indoors. So let's not blow it. Let's be smart. I know we are Americans and we come from a rich, independent streak, rugged American, all that stuff. And no one tells us what to do and keep government out of my backyard and whatnot. And we threw the king out. It all comes down to we threw the king out. King George, right? And then ever since then, we've been like, you can't tell me to put a mask on. Oh, like that one lady, Melissa Reen Lively, went viral for destroying a mask display. She snapped when she was in a Target store and she noticed a mask display. Well, I almost snapped looking at a mask. Masks are so expensive. It's crazy. And yet we have to wear them. So anyway, all that stuff. I threw all those crazy hot topics at the very end of the show. And are you going to watch the, what is it? Have you seen the Piers Morgan quitting? I have not. I've heard about it, about him getting all upset with the whole Oprah interview with Meghan Markle and Harry, and just, yeah, I have not watched that yet. I'm a little bit behind. I got to get on that. Okay, we ended with the hot topics, but next show it'll be more fun, interesting things, and you can chime in. And now here's someone chiming in to tell us where you can email and all that stuff.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!